Hello everybody, welcome back to Erica Goth YouTube channel. Okay, people on YouTube. Today's video, we are going to sing a nice proper not royal song about Charles the Third is not a king anymore and never again. Charles the Third never be a king never again. Okay, and this is a title, name in the song. Okay, and right now, I'm going to about to sing a song. And guess what? Because guess what, people on YouTube, I am born ready. I am super ready to sing a song about Charles the Third is not a king anymore and never again on England and United Kingdom. Because people on YouTube and people United Kingdom and England on YouTube should sing that song about Charles the Third is not a king anymore and never again. Okay, and that that is a name of a song. Okay, people. Okay, people, I'm going about to sing a song. I can count to three. Or one, or two, or three. Ready, steady, go. Okay, I'm born ready. Okay, I'm gonna sing right now. Okay. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king anymore and never again. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king and never again. Or United Kingdom in England. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. And Charles the Third is not a part of the royal family. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. And Charles the Third is not a king. And Charles the Third is not Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth II or the son. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. And people in England being mean to Charles the Third is not a king. People make fun of Charles. People make fun of making Charles. People make fun of to Charles. People people United Kingdom in England make fun of being mean. And Charles the Third is not a king in Buckingham Palace because a royal family keep Charles the Third out of Buckingham Palace, and Charles the Third is not a king. And people doesn't like King Charles the Third. People doesn't like King Charles the Third because King Charles the Third is the worst king in the whole world. King Charles the Third is the worst king in the whole world. And people dislike King Charles the Third. And people dislike King Charles the Third. And King Charles is not a king anymore. Charles the Third is not a king. And next time is going to be the new Queen. Mother Erica Goth on United Kingdom in England. Erica Goth is a queen to live in the Buckingham Palace and live a part in the royal family. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. Charles the Third is not a king. And Charles the Third is the worst born king I never met. Charles the Third is not a king. 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 Charles III is not a king. Charles III is not a king. And Charles is an awful king. And Charles III is not a better king. Charles III is not a better king. Charles III is the worst king. Charles III is the worst king. And Mother Erica Goff is a queen, even better. Oh, Charles III is a king. Okay, Charles III is not a king. Charles III is not a king. A Queen Erica Goff is a better queen. 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 Erica Goff is 1,000 more times better of King Charles III. And Queen Erica Goff is 1,000 times much more better of Charles III. Charles III is not a better king. Charles III is not a better king. Because Charles III is not a real person. 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 Charles III is nothing like this. Charles III is nothing like this. Charles III is nothing like this. There is no such thing as King Charles III. There is no such thing as King Charles III. There is no such thing as King Charles III on the Great Britain of a Great Britain of the United Kingdom in England. The Charles I shut down. Charles I shut down the throne. Charles I let Queen Erica Goff to stay at the throne to be a queen in the United Kingdom in England. Charles III is not a king. 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 Charles III is not a king anymore. Never again. Not a king. Never again. 1,000 million years. Charles III is not a king. 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 Because BBC people says to Charles, BBC people on the BBC News says to Charles, Charles, you are not a king. 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 On the United Kingdom in England, guess what? Who is going to be a queen, Charles? Guess what? Who's going to be a queen, Charles? Guess what? Who's going to be a queen, Charles? Erica Goff is going to be a queen. Erica Goff is going to be a queen of the United Kingdom in England. Because Erica Goff is the Queen of England. Erica Goff is the Queen of England. Erica Goff is the Queen of England. United Kingdom, not King Charles III. Okay, okay, Erica Goff is the Queen of England. Erica Goff is the Queen of England. Erica Goff is the Queen of England. Erica Goff is the Queen of England and the United Kingdom. Not Charles III is not a king anymore. Never again. This is true about King Charles not a king. That is true. Charles III is not a king. That is true. I'm not telling lies. I tell the truth. I'm a very, very serious person. I'm always honest. You must understand everything I said. People on YouTube, on the England and United Kingdom, you must understand every song I sing to you. And please subscribe Erica Goff channel and press the notification the bell button. You don't miss what video I'm post. Please like this video, and please leave a comment what you think this video. Please let me know by comments below what you think this video. Don't you forget, okay, to try your best to remember. Okay, King Charles the first not longer to be a king anymore and never again. Charles the Third is not a king. 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 Charles the Third is not a part of the royal family. Charles the Third is not a part of the royal family. And Queen Erica Goff is a part of the royal family in Book of Ring, Palace of London. Erica Goff is a part in the royal family. Charles the Third is not a king. Thank you to watching a nice song video reaction about Charles the Third is not a king anymore and never again. Okay, thank you to watching. Appreciate in your friends and family and your BBC News people. Don't forget to try your best. So long for everybody. Goodbye.